Dustin Poirier is teasing one more fight before he retires. The UFC legend was seriously contemplating hanging up the gloves after a 5th-round submission loss to lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. While the Diamond didn't get the win, he fought well against the #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the world. That left a lot of fans feeling like he still has gas in the tank, and apparently, Poirier agrees with that assessment because after spending International Fight Week at UFC 303 in Vegas, he has declared he wants to fight again. Uno mas! Poirier declared on X, formerly Twitter, before calling out multiple potential opponents. If Arman can't fight, let's go again, Islam Makhachev. Hey Conor McGregor, it felt so nice, I did it twice, ya bumski. McGregor has been hurling more attacks on Poirier's wife over social media, and it sounds like Dustin is interested in punishing the Irish sports star for his words. Dustin wrote, "I'm cool, I don't need the cash, I just want the blood," he said to McGregor. "You throw shots, there's always a return fire on my end. Gratatata," which is apparently machine gun sounds. They should have never given this kid Wi-Fi. Destruction and destroy. Uno mas! Is Dustin serious, or is he just fooling around to kill time on a red-eye flight? Whatever the case, don't expect the Diamond back in the cage for a last dance anytime soon. He partially tore his ACL during the war with Makhachev on June 5th, so it would be a miracle if he was healed up fast enough to fight before the end of the year. But good things come to those who wait, and we'd love to see Dustin finish off his career with a win. Colby Covington slams former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira. After Conor McGregor withdrew from his UFC 303 comeback fight against Michael Chandler, Covington claims that he offered to save the day by competing in the main event despite having decided that he didn't want to fight the streaking 26-year-old Ian Machado Garry. Although Covington didn't get the call to compete on the crumbling card, he has now set his sights on the former UFC lightweight champion Du Bronx Charles Oliveira. Following his UFC 300 loss to Arman Tsarukyan, Du Bronx hinted that he might be interested in moving up to welterweight for a big fight, with there being nothing left for him at lightweight. With that, the 36-year-old American has begun to campaign for a fight against the Brazilian, labeling him a mentally weak weight bully.
I know also we mentioned Charles Oliveira last time he came on submission rate. Anything from the UFC on that? Is that still a potential fight there?
It's still a potential fight. You know, the UFC hasn't shown much interest with it, but if you look at the landscape and what he said in his recent interview that he wants to go up a weight, you know, to 170, he's a big guy. He's taller than me. He weighs more than me. The guy's just a weight bully cutting to 155 because he wants to be stronger in there because he doesn't have a mental edge. He's mentally weak, so he needs to have a physical edge. He needs to be the bigger guy in the fight to feel confident going into a fight. So, you know, another one of those guys with baseless words, said all these things. Oh, yeah, I want big legacy fights. I want to go up to 170. Well, here's your chance, Charles Oliveira. I'm the biggest fight you can get. Former world champion, the king of Brazil, the king of Miami, Donald Trump's favorite fighter. What's going to be bigger for your legacy, Charles, than coming and fighting me, America's champion, Donald Trump's favorite fighter? You want the biggest fight. The ball's in your court, Charles. Let's see if you're a man of your word. You talked a big game saying you want to come up to 170. There's nothing left for you at 155. All these other guys they're trying to match you up with are complete nobodies. The biggest and best fight for Charles Oliveira's legacy will be Colby Covington. So let's see if he's about that life, but I don't think he is. I think he's gonna run away because he knows what would happen.
Dude, I would absolutely love that fight. Two legends in that octagon, mixing it up in their prime still.
As a content creator here, I try to be a little unbiased when I report on fighters and I talk about them. But like you, I'm a fan, and I can't help but just look at Alex Pereira and just think, how does anybody not have this guy as their current favorite fighter? The guy is just a badass. He showed up to UFC 303 on 2 weeks' notice and absolutely clobbered Jiri Prochazka, knocking the Czech samurai out with a head kick mere seconds into the second round of their light heavyweight title fight. With this win, he's finally defeated the 205-pound curse that sat upon the division's belt after Jon Jones vacated it. He's defended the title twice, and he's looking to do it many more times on short notice if needed.
Like I said, is my discipline, my commitment to the sport. Whenever I get these opportunities, I'm always ready.
Following the dominant win over Prochazka, there was a lot of talk about Pereira moving up to heavyweight, and while Poatan has spoken about that as an eventual goal, he was adamant that 205 pounds was where he wanted to stay for now.
As you continue building this legacy and you think of the challenges that await you, are there challenges still left for you at light heavyweight, or is it more intriguing for you to move up to heavyweight?
Você ainda tem desafios no meio pesado ou você acha que é mais interessante subir pro pesado?
Não, acho que ainda eu tenho, né? Pô, quero defender meu cinturão, né? Fazer esse trabalho bem feito que eu tô fazendo nos meus treinos, né, e mostrando resultado nas lutas.
I think I still have challenges. I want to keep defending my belt. I want to keep training and showing these results in the fights.
Alex didn't seem bothered by the tough talk coming from the would-be contenders Magomed Ankalaev or Jamal Hill. He did suggest he'd like a little bit of time off before fighting again, but time off for Pereira is measured in weeks, not months. Jiri Prochazka is speaking out after his disappointing loss at UFC 303 to light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira.
Hello everyone, thank you for all your support. Thanks to you, Alex, for the fight. It was better. And only one thing goes on my mind, that I need to evolve to the next level or don't fight again. So it's simple. To be the strongest, this is the way. Thank you. See you in the gym.
It wasn't pretty. In fact, it might have been the most disappointing fight on the card, but Ian Machado Garry walked away from UFC 303 with a win over Michael Venom Page. Page quickly established himself as the faster, more dangerous striker, but unfortunately for MVP, this is mixed martial arts. Garry turned to his grappling and jiu-jitsu skills to overpower his stylish opponent, taking him down and nearly choking him out in the first round. A third round spent on Page's back locked in the decision win for the future, to the boos of those who wanted to see a stand-up and bang war. Garry was unapologetic about how he earned his win, and he's already looking onwards and upwards to his next opponent.
Look, I'm going to have a chat with Hunter and Dana later on and figure out what's next. There's some big names, there's some cool matchups, you know, there's Shavkat, 18-0, undefeated. I'd love to get my hands on him. I've trained with him. I have nothing but respect for the guy, but I want to be the first guy to take his own. I know I can do it. I've just beat the fastest guy in the division other than me. When it comes to striking and skill, so I can do it. When it comes to grappling, we've seen the growth that I have. I'm excited to go out there and prove it against someone like him.
Ian over here, according to the UFC, now 8 fights, longest active winning win streak in the UFC welterweight division. How does that feel?
26 years of age, undefeated, breaking records. Whether people like it or not, I'm out here doing my thing, and it makes me happy to put a smile on my face. 26 years of age. I am by far the youngest man in the division, and I am far the most talented. And I put fear into other people because of my striking. Now because of the ability that I have in jiu-jitsu, I am so well-rounded, and the more and more I fight, the more and more fucked everyone else is, because I'm just going to grow and evolve at such a rapid rate that no one is going to be able to catch me.
Congrats. Ian over here. So you mentioned Shavkat as a potential opponent. I know you also on Media Day mentioned he might get the winner of Bilal and Leon. Is Kamaru Usman a possible opponent? Like you mentioned, there's huge fights, but there's a lot of fights that are booked. JDM's injured, right? So, and any other names that come to mind?
Any of them. I'm not picky. You've got Usman. I don't think Usman wants to fight me. I don't think Usman wants to come out here and fight someone who's that fast. I think he'd much rather have an easier stylistic matchup. And like, for example, he's been talking about fighting Wonderboy. Wonderboy's older now. He's not as fast as I am. He's not as well-rounded as I am. I do think, when I give examples, you've got guys who've dominated in the division for so long. Would I love to get my hands on Usman? Absolutely. Would I love to get my hands on Colby Covington? Absolutely. I think they will not accept it because they will run scared, because again, a younger, up-and-coming fighter, the future of the division. When you lose to him, you're on the end of your career. That's it. You go down and down and down. You've got people like Shavkat. That fight excites me so much. Shavkat's incredibly talented. I have nothing but respect for the guy. I've trained with him. I've shared the ring with him. We've hit each other. We've trained with each other. I've nothing but respect for the dude. It's purely out of, I don't want anyone else to beat him before me. He's 18-0, I'm 15-0. Let's go out there and put on a show, and let's see who's really better. But to answer your question, any of them.
It didn't take long for Rakhmonov to respond to Garry's call-out, saying, "Looks like Ian forgot what happened during those training sessions," he wrote on X. "I don't mind reminding him in the future." Payton Talbott believes it will take him at least 2 years to plan his route to the UFC title. Following his 19-second knockout at UFC 303, Talbott spoke to the media not only about his stellar performance at the T-Mobile Arena, but also his potential route to the Bantamweight World Championship.
After your Contender Series win 10 months ago, I asked you who would you like to fight one day in the UFC, and you said O'Malley straight away. So after tonight making the debut inside the arena from all the fans, how many fights away do you think you are to fighting O'Malley, whoever the champion is?
Oh man, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. You guys are the professionals. You probably know better than I do. I think if we both keep doing our job, though, if I do and he does, then I'm sure we'll see each other eventually, probably within the next 2 years.
And I believe that same night of your Contender win, you also mentioned that the O'Malley comparisons amongst your friends and family kind of drove you crazy, but I'm not sure if you checked yet on Instagram. A lot of people, when they see your stuff, they just put O'Malley, and everything. So, I mean, what do you make of that? I've
gotten used to it. It's whatever. I don't think we're super similar, but I mean, I kind of get it. I know what people are doing.
Yeah, and if it was up to you, I know you just called out a big name like Giannis. Would you want to fast track into those top 15 guys right away, or would you like to take it more a couple fights at a time and then build your way into there?
I don't really have an answer until after I fight, top 20 and just see how I feel and see how well I do. It's kind of hard to say right now.
Now let's take a look at the top 3 comments left on yesterday's video. At When I Think says, realistically, Ankalaev might be Alex's last stop as light heavyweight champ. Ankalaev would only strike for a takedown attempt, and it might be a lackluster fight in the end. Instead, why not just risk Alex losing to a super fight in heavyweight versus Aspinall or Jones? Even if he loses, he can still go back down to light heavyweight and fight Ankalaev. But if he wins at heavyweight, oh boy. At Mike Michael says, I want Alex to move to heavyweight and fight John Jones and become 3-division world champion. 3-division world champions. At Bill3239 says, rewatch the Gone fight. Look how much slower with his reflexes he was in his prime. The Pereira we saw at UFC 303 would absolutely smoke today's Jones. Fighting game has evolved, and he hasn't evolved with it.
As an educated adult who knows the fight business, you cannot deny that while John Jones is active, he is the greatest fighter in the world.
Did I not say that?
Yes. I don't know what you're arguing about here. I don't even know how we're in this conversation.
If you want your comments highlighted on tomorrow's video, simply comment down below. We'll highlight the top best comments, good, bad, or indifferent, and feature them in tomorrow's video. And that does it for today's video, but make sure you're liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and clicking the bell notification so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. And in case you missed it, check out yesterday's news.